Okay, what is up guys? In this video we are going to be covering loops. So all a loop is a way for you to repeat your code over and over again without having to type it out multiple times. So I'm going to be covering for loops and also while loops. So let's just jump into for loops really quick. So I'm going to type out a little thing here. Don't worry about it just yet. I'm going to explain it in just a sec. So I'm going to say for var I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, then put these brackets right here. So this probably looks a little bit scary or confusing if you have never run into for loops before. I know the first time I ran into for loops, I was kind of like, but it's really not too bad. So I'll explain this part by part here. So anything that's within these brackets of a loop is what gets repeated however many times you want. So I'm just going to say print hello inside these brackets. So as of now, what this loop does is it goes through 10 times and just prints hello over and over again to the console. So to break down a for loop here, you have this first part, you have var I equals 0, and this is going to be the condition that starts out the loop. So how a loop works is it starts at this condition, so I equals 0. It will go through the loop, do any code that's in the loop. It's going to run up to this condition right here, so it's going to say I plus plus. So this plus plus just means it's going to add 1 to the value. And so now I is going to equal 1 after the first run through of the loop. After that, it's going to go right here to I less than 10, so this middle condition. And if this middle condition is not true, it breaks out of the loop. In this case, you would replace 1 with I with 1. So you would say 1 is less than 10, so keep running through the loop. So it would print hello again, go up here, add 1, so I would be equal to 2. 2 is still less than 10, run through the loop again. So it does that continuously until I equals 10. And when I equals 10, you're going to get, this condition is going to be false because 10 less than 10 is equal to false. And it's going to break out of the loop. So just to demonstrate this, something a little more visual, I'm going to say var counter equals 0. In the loop, I'm going to print the value of that counter, and then I'm going to add 1 to the counter every single time it runs through the loop. So we're going to see here, we can, if you go onto the right side here in this column, if you hit this I, you can pull up a graph of the value of this counter over time. So every single time it goes through that loop, it just adds 1, and it does so continuously 10 times. So that's for loops. Let's quickly go through while loops, and we're going to be covering loops a lot throughout the series because we're going to have to use them so much. So if it doesn't make a ton of sense right now, don't worry too much about it because we're going to use them so much it's just going to kind of become second nature. So here I'm going to basically build a while loop, but it's going to, a while loop that's going to do exactly what we did in our for loop right here. So because we already declared counter a variable, I'm just going to say counter equals 0 to reset that. And now I'm going to say while counter is less than 10, counter plus plus. And also have to print it out there. So you're going to see this loop seems a lot simpler. All a while loop does is it says it goes through the loop and just keeps going through the loop constantly until this condition is false. So it jumps in here and says, okay, so while counter is equal to 0, so run through the loop. So then counter plus plus happens, counter equals 1, it runs back up to this condition. 1 is still less than 10, so it runs through the loop. And it does this over and over again until this condition is false when 10 is less than 10, which that condition is false. So it will then break out of the loop, and you can see here that it does the same exact thing as the for loop we created earlier. So that's going to be loops.